give you some brief about him. He is a member from Chartered Institute of Human Resource Management. He was a member in 2020, but also he was a member of the Board of Researchers for Doctoral Research Center in India, but he was a member as well in Institute of Management Specialists in 2019, but he was again a member of Institute of Professional Managers and Administrators of Nigeria, 2018, and also he was a member of Nigeria Institute of Management in Nigeria. So we are going to start our presentation, but basically he has written so many papers which have been published in several journals, but because of the time constraints, we're not going to mention them all. And that's why we will just go direct according to time, and then we could listen from him. His presentation will be demonstrated there. And okay, we could have a time for questions and answers after concluding his presentation. So we beg you to be humble listening to his presentation. Thank you so much for your understanding.
Looking at the goal of this study, is one, to look into the causes of these violations. Two, is to analyze the effects, the dramatic effects, the negative effects of these violations. And lastly, is to look at the solutions. What is rights? Or let me say, what is civil rights? Civil rights are those rights enjoined by every citizen, either a Muslim, a Christian, or a traditionalist. So these rights are to be carried out by every citizen as enshrined in the Constitution, 1999 Constitution of Nigeria. So some of these rights are rights to life, rights to human dignity, right to peaceful assembly and association, right to freedom from discrimination, and so on and so forth. How did I gather this research? That is, looking at my methodology. The abstract of this study, as sent to the organizers of this conference, is that this study is going to be conducted via sources from books, newspapers, literature, other sources, Wikipedia, and so on. So today, if you look at Nigeria as a whole, we discovered that some of the causes of these violations of rights are: one, we have the over-religious fanaticism. What do I mean by this? According to Hornby, 1974, he proposed that a fanatic is a person who is too enthusiastic about something. So, looking at fanaticism itself in the real sense is over-enthusiasm. That is, religious fanaticism is therefore in the view of Balogun, where he said is a violent and unreasonable religious enthusiasm. This group of fanatics does not hide their feelings and actions toward other religious adherents. So when they see other people practicing their own religion, they will want to, harm them. They will want to obstruct them. So in this case, they feel other people are not like them. So another cause of religious violation another cause of civil rights violations on religious identities in Nigeria is fear of domination. When I talk of fear of domination, you discover that a particular set of religious identities do not want other people to be over them. They feel they must dominate other people. And in this course, there are a lot of chaos. Let me cite an example. An example where a Sharia law is being introduced in some parts of Nigeria. So if Sharia is being introduced in some part of Nigeria, the Sharia is meant to bound on those who are Muslims, at least those who really practice that religion. But it is not like that case in Nigeria. The other one is selective ignorance. The other one is power tussle. When a particular set of people, maybe Muslims, believe they must be the one in control of the state, they must be the one in control of work, they must be the one in control of other things. So power tussle, when these religious identities feel they should be the one in control, the other one too feel they should be in control. In that case, you have religious human rights or civil rights violations. Another one is exclusive ownership of truth, where I, as a Muslim, would believe my religion is the way to salvation. Other people will also believe their own religion is the way to salvation. These are those causes that these are human rights violations in Nigeria. So now we move to what exactly are the effects? Where are these religious violations are being meted on people? One, for instance, we have violations of civil rights, where we have failure to call Miss Firdaus Amosa to bar. It happened in Nigeria some years back, where a law graduate, a Muslim sister, was about to graduate, and she wasn't called to bar because she was putting on hijab. When you look at that, you discover that it is because of religious rights violations. The other one, we have violations of rights to worship. How do we go about this? Recently, in a particular state in Nigeria, precisely Ilorin, whereby some religious identities to be members of Majlis Shabab Li Ulama Society in Ilorin delivered a message. What is that message? The message was that a younger sister who identified herself as Alaba, they told Alaba that her sister must not hold any festival in any part of Ilorin. This sister happens to be a traditional worshipper. So the people who are Muslims in Ilorin were trying to deny this sister of not practicing her own religious rights, which is against the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, whereby it stated that every citizen have the right to join whichsoever religion he or she wants to. So another type of violations of religious rights, we have extrajudicial killing and murder. You know, in a situation where Muslims and Christians and people of other religions are fighting, they will, in that case, there may be a kind of suicide, a kind of murder, a kind of extrajudicial killing, which is not in tandem with the constitution of the country. Another one, which is a kind of violation of rights of human in Nigeria, is the WAEC examination schedule for Juma period. Every one of us know that on Jumat, on Friday, Muslims are expected to be in the mosque to go and pray. It happened in Nigeria that the WAEC exam was fixed and scheduled for the time of Jumat. You know, it happened in April 20, between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. You know, there were kind of chaos, there were kind of religious riots where Muslims are calling on the authorities of WAEC. When I talk of WAEC, I'm talking of West African Examination Council. So they denied Muslims of going to the mosque on Friday. And you know, from there, religious riots started. Another aspect of it is traditional worshippers were denied of worship. You see, the massive destruction of demolition of shrines and sacred groves is another conflict area. This explains where Watogba Wenaka in 2013 opines that the huge resource that was generated through terrorism this is lost through people's shrines to go and destroy their place of worship. It's just like a person destroy it. You know, I try to
presented will come afterward.
Okay.
For questions.
Okay, I'm here.
Somebody is going to present and then. Oh no, sorry. We are going to ask you a few questions. We finish with you.
Anyone, please? But go direct to the question. Go direct to the question. Only 1 minute. I'm sorry. Could you please, professors?
Thank you very much, Doctor. Dr. Jamil from Islamic University in Uganda. Very much pleased by your presentation. And this is what we are going through, thought and knowledge. My question, maybe thinking about the topic, is where we see violation of civil rights between religious affiliations. But I don't know whether you have also taken interest to look at within the same religion that some people may deny others to practice what they think about or what they have learned about in that kind of religion. I don't know whether you have that. And then as we look at the solution for the inter-religious kind of harmony, in Uganda we have now the Inter-Religious Council of Uganda. So I feel that this is a very important topic which we need to understand, all of us. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes, yes.
A PPT presentation there. Within my paper, I have a situation, or I discuss a situation where we have violations of religious, civil rights within same religious fold. That is, between a Muslim and Muslim, Christians and Christians, traditional worshippers, within the same fold. It is in my full paper.
Okay, thank you. Another question is coming.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Falami. My question 3, the first one is about, the concept of rights and freedom. We normally find difficulty in things. Is freedom to mean rights, and is rights to mean freedom? That's number one. I would love that, you clarify about that. Second question is about, you made a clear line that in Nigeria, some sort of division that is allowed to be, doing with religion, minorities, and religious communities. But I would argue that there is need for us to appreciate the fact that we are created different. You can't hear? Closer? Can you hear me now? Sorry. I get close to that? Hello, doctor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I proceed? Yeah, my questions are three, like I mentioned. The first one is about the concept of freedoms and rights. Do we mean the same thing? Like you have been talking about, you've been talking about freedoms and then rights as if it is one thing. So I would love that you clarify, is it one or two different things? The other question is about we need to appreciate that we were created different. Yes?
What do you call it?
Sorry?
You said I should clarify between what?
Rights and freedoms. Like I saw you trying to use them overlapping.
Okay, rights and
Freedoms.
freedom. Okay.
All right. The other question is about the difference that you've been mentioning about in Nigeria. It's differences everywhere. You know, we have people with different stripes. The other one is a Muslim, the other one is a Christian, and that is how humans were made, different. So I hope that it is our initiative as human beings to appreciate that we are in virtue of being human, different. So we are, you know, you've been talking about civil rights, something that in essence is created not to appreciate the difference, but to create some sort of, you know, unity without appreciating that we are different. And I wanted to argue that we can't, in some sense, create peace and harmony without appreciating that we are actually different by default. So by appreciating the differences, maybe, and incorporating them in our civil rights and documents, that is when we can at least come up with a tangible solution to these problems. So I would rather... It's understood? The last question... All right.
Your fourth question is clear to me.
You can respond those who.
The second question is not clear.
No, respond to the first one and the second one.
Okay, let me go to the first one. Okay, the first one you are talking about, I should tell you, I should differentiate between rights and freedom. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, when you talk about rights, rights are just individuals' moral or legal entitlements that someone should have or to do something. While freedom is the absence of necessity, coercion, or constraints in choice or action. So it is our own right as human beings to ensure and protect our freedom. I hope you get that.
Yes.
So we have freedom from not being coerced. That is, nobody must coerce another person. That is enshrined in the Constitution, the Nigerian 1999 Constitution. So you must make sure you protect your own freedom, your right, what you are entitled to. What you are entitled to as right is for you to be able to worship any kind of religion you feel you like or you have interest in without being coerced. So these are the differences.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. It was wonderful. We appreciate your participation with us.
Hello? I hope I'm going to get a video of my presentation or thereabouts. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. care. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now to announcements, we have announcements. Number one, we are kindly requested not to sleep until we get a certificate of permission. That you are highly permitted to take a sleep and then you with a certificate on hand. This is number one. But number two, the presentation about from Senka to Battlefield is not going to be presented today, and the presentation of Islam in the modern world, challenges and dynamics, want to be presented as well, because the presenter has not yet, didn't attend with us here. So another presentation right now that we are going to participate with is about favoring LGBTQIA+ under the guise of biological factors, counter-arguments, which is going to be presented by Mr. Abdullahi Musa Kitota. So we are humbly and kindly requested to listen attentively, and then we could have very good time for discussion and questions. Thank you so much. Mr. Abdullahi Kitota, because you have already introduced, you are warmly welcome. Okay. We are going to be happy if you will just spend not more than 10 minutes, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mr. Brother Jengo. Okay, we are going to see this very the current issue which is running about in the whole world now, which is LGBTQI. Kwa Kiswahili wanasema ni mambo ya ushoga na kadhalika. The title of this paper is Favoring LGBTQI+ under the guests of biological factors, the counter arguments. So here, the specific focus of this study is to provide the counter arguments against the arguments given by the developed countries, especially USA and the other European countries who are in favor of these behaviors, and they promote them. There are many counter-arguments, and of course this is a very systematic study, but according to the time, I will go directly to the findings. But before that, I beg you to stay attentively and observe that young boy there. And that is kind of video which I took from somewhere. You see that one? That one is a male individual and not a female individual. You may replay again so that they can observe. You may replay the video. Yeah, it's just a male individual and not a woman and not a female. That one is the first male individual in this country to undergo the medical procedures for transforming himself from male to female. That one. So there is a transformed male, and he is expecting to have pregnant and having babies in forthcoming months. And they have told him that you will start engaging these things of sexual intercourse and so forth after about 4 to 5 months after surgery. So the first guy in this country to change the creation of Allah to another form of modification. So we, as parents and scholars and so forth, this is the challenge to us. We have to think, where are we going? Under normal circumstances, we expect that the one is expected to have a very nice contribution in the country, to his family, to relatives, and so forth. But now he is like that. You cannot take that one and subjected him to very nice company, the office, and so forth, to work and contribute to the society. It is very difficult because he have changed the fitra, he have changed the nature of his creation. And this is the work of Iblis according to the glorious Quran. So now coming to the findings. Why these people promote these behaviors? There is one very big argument they provide, and this is based from the researches which they have done in their very sophisticated lab. This argument is this one. They say in their findings, male sexual orientation has been linked to a region near the end of the chromosome X, which is XQ28. And other linkage such as 10 in brackets 10q26, as well as regions on chromosome 4, chromosome 7, chromosome 11, chromosome 12, chromosome 14, and chromosome 15. I will try to make it very simple because these are the medical facts, and they are very difficult to explain. And also they are very difficult to understand, especially when you are talking with communities like this. So they are talking about one thing. Allah said that we human beings, we have been created from al-ma'un dafiq. Al-ma'un dafiq are those water given out by the male individuals during the sexual intercourse, during an act of ibadah between wife and husband. In that water, there are specific individuals there inside. We call them sperms. In that sperm, when you take one of them, inside it there is a nucleus. This nucleus, inside it there are materials that are responsible for holding our inheritance. So those materials are like strings like thread, kamba fulani. So they say, go to another slide. They say, you see that one like just a string. The very last portion of this string is that part which they are talking about, XQ28, the green one there at the below. The last portion of a chromosome X. Because those genetic materials we have, female individual have 23 chromosomes, and the male individual have also 23 chromosomes. So these, after mating, after just copulating, just an act of ibadah, these materials are going to be mixed together to get 46 chromosomes. But among these 23, there is one chromosome which is responsible for sexual or for sex of an individual, jinsia. And among these 23 of male, also there is one chromosome which is responsible for sex, for transmission of sex of an individual, for the inheritance of sex of an individual. So one of them is that one. That is X chromosome. So the last part of it is where they hypothesize that there are some genes there responsible for inheritance of this behavior, which falls under the acronym LGBTQI+. These are many behaviors. L means lesbian. They said in Swahili, usagaji. G means gay. They say it is ushoga. B means bisexual, which means an individual can have a sexual attraction to either male individual or female individual, both sides, multipurpose. T means transgender, like the one we saw there, that young guy there. He is transformed, a transgender. He is not regarded as a male. Now he is a transformed male. And etc., etc., etc. So they say all these behaviors, they are held in that particular portion of X chromosome. These are the findings circulating all over the world, and they take these findings to narrate to the people, to address to the people, to announce, to propagate, to invest a lot of money, making sure that these behaviors are accepted in the general community. A lot of money have been invested for this purpose. So what the origin of these findings? The origin of this finding is the study conducted by Hammer Group, which is sponsored by NIH, National Institute of Health. This is the institute under the USA government. So they funded this institute, and they come out with these findings, the original findings, 1993. From there, that findings becomes the foundation of other researchers who came later until now. So most of them, they come with the baseline of this finding, and they promote until now. But there are few other researchers who are not biased. I will pick one of them in this study, and which is the part of counter argument, the first counter argument. This study is the study which reveals the reality. They say that after Dean Hammer, that group which I have told you, findings in 1993 and 1995, some US and British newspapers and magazines were selected purposefully as sample to propagate these findings with the bias in favor of gay behavior often in front pages. So they selected some of the media outlets to propagate those findings. They pay them a lot of money so that they propagate that there is a genes which are responsible for the inheritance of gay behavior, bisexual behavior, lesbian behavior, transgender behavior, and so forth. So people were paid to propagate this according to this study. Also, they say in this study, this press constructed the gay genes in each press culture. That means they constructed the gene for themselves, not in reality that there are genes but they constructed an artificial genes and they propagated these genes, that this behavior are inherited behavior. So the US press reported Hamer's study as good science and treated it with cautious optimism, while the British press reported the research as the perils of the gay genes. So these are the efforts to make this issue very, very big issue all over the world. So this is the first counter arguments. One thing which is very, 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 very wonderful to notice here, the methodology which they use, the people who favor this behavior, who promote this behavior, and the methodologies that they use, the people who are against this behavior, the researchers, are the same. So the question is that, why the same methodology lead to different kind of conclusion? Why? It means that there is purposefully, there is very special purpose for this promotion. Subhanallah. Now coming to the second counter arguments. This comes from the field of the neuroscience. You know, in order to counterattack, to counter arguments these arguments, you have to borrow the arguments from different kind of fields. Another field here is neuroscience. According to this field, there are a number of publications which relate that, which say that after birth, humans have cognition at perceptual and sensory levels. Cognition means that ability to understand it, to think it, to maybe to reason, etc. So after birth, a young baby there doesn't know anything. Rather, he or she have perceptual or sensory level of cognition, which is he cannot understand anything. They say then that young boy or young girl learn best in secure, nurturing environments, and when attachment to a consistent caregiver is present, the neural connections that integrate the incoming information and give cognitions and emotions quadruple, increase by fourfold in year 1, and will be 150 up to 200% greater than that of an adult by year 3. This means that after a baby be born, he does not know anything. But he will be knowing some of the things as he is going through the nurturing process. Is where the neural pathway in his brain or her brain are going to be created so that he can know, he can understand, he can learn, etc. So he learns with respect to the nurturing process. Before that, he doesn't know anything. This is the science from Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, and he has exposed it in the Quran, Surah An-Nahl, verse number 78, which says that Wallahu akhrajakum min butuni ummahatikum la ta'lamuna shay'an. Allah have just brought you from the wombs of your mother. You don't know anything. So if someone is gay today, we know that this gay behavior is acquired, not inborn, according to Quran, according to the science in modern neuroscience. The last argument. The last argument also is coming from the Quran and the Sunnah. These references, which are the mother references, say that there are two kinds of fitra, which is nature of our creation. The first kind of fitra is the physical fitra, which you can see. Your body, internal condition, internal parts of the body, and the external parts of the body. Those are the physical fitra. And that one, that young boy we saw there, he have changed the physical fitra. But according to the nature of our trial we saw in the first presentation, he have also changed the spiritual fitra, because there are communication between the parts which govern our trial. So they have also exposed that this Quran and the Sunnah, they say, there is no child who is not born in a state of these two kinds of fitra. Everyone is born with this kind, with these two types of fitra. كل مولود يولد على فطرة الإسلام. They say إلا أن أبويه يهودانيه أو ينصرانيه. Is the parents or guardians through nurturing process and Iblis and jinns through their whispers and so forth who can make him to be either a Jew, a Christian, a Zoroastrian, etc., including the gay behavior, lesbian behavior, and other kind of behavior. Because he was born without those behavior. So is, according to the nurturing process, the social interactions and other environmental behavior and conditions and so forth, that will make her or him a gay, a lesbian, and etc. So the conclusion of this presentation is that, hence, the present study have elucidated that the true nature of LGBTQIA+ behaviors is not biology itself, such as genes or hormones. Rather, the biology is there as the very foundation of everything that has to happen in or on the body. So the biology itself is there. So it depends on how you live, where you will be exposed. You intermingle with whom? You stay where? What kind of things are you doing? So those are the factors which will determine the transformation of your biology to undesirable behavior like those LGBT behaviors. But for the LGBTQIA behavior to occur, the biology must be diverted or changed by the social cultural factors governed by the nurturing processes. So here there is diversion, which can be physical diversion or spiritual diversion. And when we talk about spiritual diversion, we are talking about the ruh diversion. Why? Because the nature of the qalb, we are talking about the physical qalb, not hypothetical qalb. We are talking about the heart, which when you dissect someone, when you make a surgery to someone, you see it as a piece of flesh. Allah said that that piece of flesh has a tendency of diverting, of changing towards where you are looking or where you are hearing. So this is the baseline of this kind of behavior, and thank you for listening to me. This is the end. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brother Kitoza, for the extended presentation. I have two quick questions. The first one is, I'm not sure how the scientific perspective, I heard that there are some cases where a person is born with a male genitalia and a female genitalia. I mean, both. So I want to know the Islamic perspective, how does this person identify as, or what's the actual approach that if a parent maybe his or her child is born with this kind of situation, what's the actual approach? And the second quick question, sorry. We in the Islamic history, we know that during the prophetic era of Nabi Lut alayhi salam, they had this problem of homosexuality, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they kind of punished, not kind of, I mean, he actually punished the whole society. So I want to know what's the, I mean, where did this root, I mean, where does the root come from of the homosexuality if Allah had destroyed it, I mean, years ago? I mean, what was the first source of this thing emerging again? Thank you very much.
Hussein from Muslim University of Morogoro. Thank you very much, Brother Kitota, for a wonderful presentation. MashaAllah, it was wonderful. Now, I have 2 questions. Jurists define khuntha mushkil as sexually unidentified human being. Now, first question number 1, where does this type of a human being get attracted to sexually? Khuntha mushkil. The second question is, what is the Quranic essence or rather wisdom of not mentioning khuntha in the Quran? We said we find a male and a female. وَأَنَّهُ خَلَقَ الزَّوْجَيْنِ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى مَنْ عَمِلَ صَالِحًا مِنْ ذَكَرٍ أَوْ أُنثَى, and similar verses. Thank you very much.
Okay, my question is from first presentation about the mode of our trial. Brother Kitota, you said the heart is the center of all trials. If the heart is the center of all trials, what about the transplantation of hearts? And what effects are there in transferring a good person's heart to a bad person, and it is vice versa? There are any scientific evidence or theories or causes or cases showing how changes in the heart can affect a person's behavior or decisions? And is it possible that the heart's conditions significantly influence the direction of one's spiritual and ethical life? Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A lot of questions here, but by the will of Allah, I will try my level best to answer these questions. I have to start with the last one, which talks about the heart at the center of our trial. And the question says that, does the heart transplant really? What is the scientific evidence? For example, someone is given a bad heart, how it will be? What are the scientific evidences? There are some of the scientific researches, which are clinical cases, have been reported, and these cases reveal the nature of our trial we have talking about here, at the heart, at the seat of our trial. One is the study conducted by someone called Piso and his fellows. The study goes by the title Parallels. The heart transplant parallel that donors resemble their, the receiver resemble their donors. That means that those who were given the new hearts from the donors' hearts in the process of heart transplant, they acquired the new behaviors from those people who gave them their hearts. This means that the heart stores the informations. The physical heart we are talking about, the heart which pumps the blood, is the one which stores the information. And this is according to the researches conducted by the Heart Math Institute of USA. This is the very big institute which conducts the researches on of the heart, but on the level of the neurons of the heart, etc. So when you are given the heart of someone who is maybe gay, you will depict some of the behavior of gay. When you are being given the heart of someone who is maybe have any kind of bad behavior, you get that behavior. And these research have enclosed, have exposed this kind of acquisition of new behavior. One example is the case of someone who was just shot by the gun, and before his death, his heart was taken and given to someone who was the professor at the university, and that professor was just seeing that flash of the gun hitting him in the forefront of his head. He was just dreaming the whole phenomena which led to the death of that one, the donor of his heart. So the heart is at the center of our trial. It means that it keeps the information, and Allah knows how it communicates with the ruh and how it communicates with the body. And that's why there is hadith of Al-Barra bin Azib, which states that there are some people who, during their death, their body will be dead, and their heart, their ruh will be dead. And there are some people who, during their death, their body will be pure, clean, and their ruh will be clean. What the meaning of this? It means that when the heart receives the information, Allah knows how it communicates those information to the ruh, and the ruh may be clean or may be dead. So this one is the response from the last question. So another is the first question about the hermaphroditism in human being. Someone born with the male and the female, maybe sexual organs, two kinds of sexes at once. This can be answered correctly with the observation in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There are a number of hadith which have been reported by Al-Imam Muslim and also Imam Al-Bukhari in their Sahih. In those hadith, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained all the procedures of installation of the organs in the body to constitute a body of a newborn baby in the mother's womb. All the procedures have been exposed there. And the one who is responsible to install those organs are the Malaika, an angel, a very responsible angel. The special angel are just sent in the womb after 42 days. After 7 weeks, the angel enter in the womb. And his function there is putting the organs with respect to the command of Allah. And those angels, they ask Allah, Ya Allah, is this one male or female? So not one hadith, many hadith. So Allah told the angel that that one is male. So the angel put the organ for male.
Thank you so much. According to time, we would like to give you a second translator, but right now we apologize.
Okay.
To invite another presentation. We are sorry for that.
So Sheikh Tawakal, your questions are here. Maybe next time.
Yeah, inshallah, we will get the time, inshallah.
Okay.
Asante sana. Now is the time for Dr. Gyagenda Abdulswamad, the role of interfaith dialogues in promoting social cohesion in East Africa, the case of Uganda. 10 minutes for presentation. You are warmly welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I know you must be very tired since morning. So am I. So I'm going to try my level best to use very limited time, to use little time. So my topic is the role of interfaith dialogues in promoting social cohesion in East Africa. I'm glad that the previous presenter from Nigeria, the one who was online, tried his level best to bring out the issues of dialogue and also some of the dynamics in Nigeria. So, but and then he highlighted some of the he highlighted on some of the key issues in this topic of dialogue. So I'm going to talk about some of the things he has not, mentioned, and also give my perception about it. So let's go to the slides. Let's move. So in my introduction, I begin by introducing the meaning of interfaith dialogue. According to Andrabi, interfaith dialogue involves people of various faiths and religious denominations coming to a mutual understanding and respect that allows them to live and cooperate with each other in spite of their differences. So whenever you hear the word dialogue, whenever you hear about coexistence, live and let live, it only implies one thing: it's diversity. Whenever you hear unity, it's because of diversity. Because if all of us were looking the same, if all of us believed in the same way, there would never be this issue of dialogue. There would be nothing to dialogue about. But because of the fact inherent in our creation of diversity, that's why we talk about dialogue. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, from the animals, from the water, and everything. It has different, kinds, types. My brother who is here would have helped me. I don't know whether it's called taxonomy in biology, where you classify everything and break down and show the different, variations in creatures. So this is in human, is within us. So from the introduction, interfaith dialogue entails the ideas of coexistence, live and let live, peace and harmony, freedom of worship and association, kindness and fairness, justice and equity. I'm going to expound more on the issue of diversity, and that's going to be my keyword today. Let's proceed. Why interfaith dialogue? Diversity. Difference in religion, difference in tribe, difference in color, difference in understanding, perceptions, difference in values. And at the same time, when we are living together as a community. Before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I don't remember the first heterogeneous society until the Prophet migrated to Medina and had this kind of leadership that involved people of different faiths, people of different tribes, and people of different nations. The other reason why we need dialogue, now because of this, we have conflict. We have conflict, and conflict is also part of life, because we cannot, husband and wife, they are fighting, brothers and sisters are fighting, and it is usually people who are living together that will always fight or have conflicts. Then extremism and fanaticism. My brother gave the dictionary definition of fanaticism. I wish to share with you my own understanding of fanaticism. I understand fanaticism as being too serious about something you don't understand. So religious fanatics, these are people who are too serious about religion when they don't understand what it is all about. So they call others all sorts of names, and that leads me to, let me go to the last, identity crisis. So you don't know, should I identify myself as a Tanzanian? Should I identify myself as Bantu? Should I identify myself as an African? Should I identify myself as a Muslim? If I identify myself as a Muslim, what kind of Muslim should I be identified as? As a Salafi, as a Sufi, as a Sunni, as a Shia? So all these things come into our heads, and they lead to the extremism, fanaticism, and the conflicts that we have. Before you go, wait, slow down. So I have a question there, and I'm also going to give my understanding of it. I know you have your own, but in the interest of time, I'll just share mine. Who is a kafir? I don't know whether I should apologize, but it's what has been running in my head, and I've never shared it with anybody. So it is in the first conference, in this conference today, that I'm going to share it. I think that everybody in this world is potentially a kafir and a mushrik. And I'm going to explain. I know you are shocked. And when I say everybody, I include myself. Because sometimes I pass by the Hindu temple and I'm dressed like in a kanzu. You think when you are passing by, you think those Hindus say, look at that believer. You think he thinks you are a believer. A Hindu, he say, look at this kafir. He's lost. So in his perception, you are a kafir. The same way you think that he is a kafir. Who is a mushrik? A mushrik is someone who worships anything other than Allah. So to another person who is worshipping something else, in their perception, if you worship something else other than what they worship, you are potentially a mushrik. So if you don't appreciate this kind of understanding, I mean, this is how I think. And what is the probability that you could any one day denounce Islam? I can see someone saying, وَالْيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, may Allah forbid. But that same feeling is the feeling that a Christian has. If you were born a Muslim, what is the probability that you could denounce Islam? What are the chances? They are minimal. So the same way you feel, you are so passionate about Islam, is the same way the Christian feels. Is the same way the Hindu feels. Is the same way the Buddhist feels. So let's go. So going to the issue of diversity, I think the figures, are so small, but this is trying to bring out the issue of diversity. And I think in the interest of time, I'll just make this my final point, because there are so many issues. We have interreligious councils. I'm talking about interreligious dialogue activities and programs. My problem that I'm trying to discuss, or that led me to come up with this paper, is we have interreligious programs. I thought nobody would call me because I don't have roaming. I'm sorry. So, the interreligious dialogue programs we have in Uganda, and all the dialogue programs that I have met, they hide under interreligious, activities. Whereas I think that the actual problem of conflict is not among religions, mainly. Yes, there are some conflicts among, my brother in Nigeria was talking about Boko Haram. But, okay, for the case of Uganda, what we see is that the people who have conflicts, they are more intra-conflicts than inter-conflicts. It is easier to find a Muslim fighting with a Muslim than it is to find a Muslim fighting with a Christian. It is more common for Muslims to fight each other. It is more common for Christians to fight each other than it is to find Christians fighting. Now, the interreligious dialogue activities only, discuss interreligious dialogue, whereas the actual problem they should be addressing is intra-faith dialogue. Now, the membership of the dialogue programs is led by religious leaders. Now, these religious leaders, the muftis, the bishops, they have problems in their churches and mosques. They are fighting with the congregation. Now, each one of them knows. The mufti knows that he has problems. He knows the problems of the bishop. The bishop knows the problems in the mosque. So when they meet, they cannot address the actual problems in their respective, and then they bury their heads in the sand, and they say, let us see how Muslims and Christians can live together. No, Muslims and Christians have no problem. Muslims and Muslims have a problem. Do you understand the point? So And even by common sense, what is the likelihood that, so you have two people, you have your brother and you have a stranger. Whom are you likely going to have a conflict with? Your brother, because you live together, you stay together, you see each other, you deal together. So the chances of hurting each other are more. So the actual conflicts are not, inter. So here I try to give the statistics of Christians and the Muslims. And that's why Dr. Hafiz is on his way, he's one of the presenters. He has always discussed this issue of interreligious marriages. This is the topic that many people like to discuss. And I have the same feeling about it. Because at least the Quran is clear about one thing. That a Muslim man can marry a Christian woman. وَالْمُحْصَنَاتِ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابِ. So, I don't know. I will have reservations about that. But you can marry a Christian as far as the Quran is concerned. But I don't want to also go into that debate, whether it is allowed, whether it is not allowed. I've seen these debates all over social media. My problem is, why can't a Sunni marry Shia? Why can't a Catholic marry Anglican and Pentecostal? There is a bishop who told me one time that, you see, you're a Muslim young man. I can give you my daughter. I cannot give my daughter to a Pentecostal. Those ones are, like a Catholic thinks that the Pentecostals, the born agains, that they are kafir. They are more kafir than Muslims. They are heretic. A Sunni thinks that a Shia is more kafir than the Christian. So the interreligious dialogue, I think, should focus more on building ties, strengthening the bond at an intra-level than at an inter-level of religion. And that's my argument in this paper.
I give you bonus of 4 minutes.
So let's go to the next slide. So you can forget about the statistics. So the historical context. Intertribal conflicts. We have tribes. East Africa has 160 ethnic groups. East Africa altogether. Uganda alone has about 55 different tribes, and we are all living together. Now, I don't agree with the argument. I've also heard this and I've read it so many times, and I've seen these Pan-Africanists, bring up this argument that religion brought conflict in Africa. Human beings have always had conflicts. People killed one another. You read Jahiliyyah. Before Muhammad came, people were burying their daughters even before they had conflicts with them. So to argue that religion has led people to kill each other, I don't agree with this. Why do I talk about intertribal conflicts? Because Africans have started fighting Buganda, Bunyoro Kingdom. These people were fighting before religions came. So human beings always fight. They always have conflicts. So I don't want to bring this. To tie it on religion. And that's why in my paper I discussed the intertribal conflicts in Uganda and East Africa. So I've spoken about diversity, then political religious wars. We had political religious wars. I've spoken about religious fanaticism. We can move. According to this constitution of Uganda, all persons are equal before and under the law. Let's move and go to the move. Okay, this is library research. I only reviewed key reports, literature, policy documents, credible media, and academic publications. Okay, now we have the Interreligious Council. In the problem statement that I didn't want to go to, the Interreligious Council was established about 20 years ago, and all they do is this: civic education on the electoral process. They have participated in peace talks, for instance, with ADF, South Sudan conflict, Uganda-Rwanda conflicts, and so on. They have participated in conflict resolution, but you see they are doing conflict resolution at a mega level. at a bigger level, across borders. Sensitization on HIV and AIDS. Let's move. My key observation, one is that they operate only in town and city areas. I have not seen the interfaith dialogue programs in rural areas. I have not seen them in small towns. I have not seen them up country, even in big cities. They are majorly in the centers. Isolation of intra-faith conflicts, I think I've spoken much about it. Intra-faith marriages versus interfaith marriages. Then partisan participation. I think I'll skip that. Then membership of the dialogue programs. The membership of the dialogue programs, I think we should have neutral people who are not part of the clergy to be the leaders of the interreligious, because the religious leaders themselves have issues. And I'm not against the religious leaders, but I'm just saying for this specific cause, the people who are, the membership of the Interreligious Council should have other people other than the clergy.
Yellow color, traffic light to red.
Okay. Isolation of some faiths. Now, this is my final argument. You think that because a Muslim will say that, he doesn't believe how a Christian believes. Okay? And a Christian will say that a Muslim, he doesn't believe what a Muslim believes. But then, the membership of the Interreligious Council does not allow the participation of African traditional religions. Muslim, Christian, they don't believe the same. But the membership of the African traditional religions, for them now that is satanic. But you believe the other one is a kafir, but you have agreed. Why not the other? I attended the National Prayer Breakfast in 2019 in Uganda, the Uganda Parliament. So, and I asked one of the organizers, we have the leader of the ATR in Uganda, is called Mama Fina. I'm like, who is representing these people? Because this is organized by the interfaith organization of the country. He said, those ones they are devilish. Now, good enough, he was a Christian. I said, do you think my faith is right? Then he kept quiet. So why did you agree to invite us and not invite them? And this is actual pretense, because we still live with these people in our society. We interact with them. And I'm not their advocate, but I'm trying to say that they should be included in the faith programs. Lastly, so my recommendation, the interfaith dialogue activities to be extended to villages, engaging all faiths without discrimination, tackling the intrafaith conflicts, engraving African values such as Ubuntu in the interfaith dialogue programs. Empirical studies should be conducted. So you see, mine was library research, and some of my feelings and thoughts, and I'm sorry about that. But scholars are here. You can go and do more empirical studies in this field, and you inform us. Teaching the younger generation the foundation of their religion. Yes, let's go. Yeah, there are two verses there, one in the Bible and the other one in the Quran. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah does not forbid you to deal justly and kindly with those who fought not against you on account of religion, nor drove you out of your homes. Verily, Allah loves those who deal with equity. So Allah does not forbid us to have this kind of dialogue and so on. And even the verses in the Bible are clear about this, being equal and being fair. Let's move. I end my presentation with this quotation. No peace among the nation without peace among the religions. No peace among religions without dialogue between the religions. No dialogue between the religions without investigation of the foundation of religions. Hans Kung, Christianity, Essence, History, and the Future. I thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much. You have spent 19 minutes. And,
under your request.
the have a very good note, and we'll mention their names at the end of this presentation, that these are the winners of today's sleeping champion. Okay. Karibu.
عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My name is Sharif Mohammed Haji. Student, higher learning student. That's why I'm here. And this paper has been foundation for strategic engagement of university and student provision of loans in Tanzania. So I will share with you some findings and critical issues in the study we did. In the background, I have some questions, which is very simple questions, but very, very interesting to us. How many people do you think has managed to secure the loans from Higher Learning Education Student Loan Board, for that in Tanzania? In Zanzibar, there's a similar body called the Zanzibar Higher Learning Education Student Loan Board, which provision the same loans to students, mainly from Zanzibar. Ask yourself this question. Come to next question. Ask yourself, are you among beneficiaries from these loans? For those who come from Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria, pardon, but this study has been conducted in Tanzania. So it has some features for Tanzanian. Ask yourself the second question. Are you a beneficiary of Higher Learning Student Loan Board or HLB? If yes, go to another question. Have you started to pay back the loan? If yes, another question comes. When did you start to pay back? If you know the answer of this question, come to the last question. Did you start to pay willingly? Most of us, we pay the loan back because of our organization has been forced to do that. Do you feel responsible for not paying? If you haven't started to pay back this loan, do you feel responsible for that? Well, these questions has been, as I said, foundation for our research and come up with the model that TDT starting to use. There's these community feelings or set of mindset that we have in our society. The first thing is government assets and CSO assets are no one assets. In that case, it is justifiable to use them at your interest, at your disposal. Whoever have the hand of a government assets or CSO, organization assets, someone feels it is justifiable to use whatever he wants, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. This is the community mindset of our society. Not only in Tanzania, as most of our society in Africa. The second mindset is, it is common for people to come together for social issues in Tanzania and Africa. But it's very difficult to come together when it's come to education. I think we are witness of this. The other issue, it is also very common for individuals, this is for most of professionals, to plan for buying luxurious or dream asset like car, house, but there's no plans for education. Early this year, one among my friends, he consulted me to develop a business model for wedding organizing business. I came across this statement. What makes the wedding business reliable is that, like funeral, it does not stop or end with tough times, financially speaking. This is Citizen, March 2021. Do you know what this place, the hall there, to rent this hall, only hall as whole, there's nothing with it, it costs you 10 million. Just the hall, empty hall like this. Then you come up with other items to conduct your wedding. And trust me, when I did that part of business modeling, I asked these people, they say, there's no weekend, it is free, without event. 10 million every week. Let's say the higher learning financing model in Tanzania, and maybe throughout the world the same. The first model, I call it futuristic model. Futuristic model, students get the loan and start to pay it back after finishing his study or her studies and secure the job. If and only if secure the job. This is called futuristic model, mostly used by Higher Learning Student Loan Board in Tanzania and Zanzibar Higher Learning Student Loan Board. And there are other local organizations like Islamic Development Education Fund, they are using the same model. So it's not about government, there are some other organizations with the same model. There are also a model called the free lunch model. Free lunch model, mostly used by CSOs, they are providing scholarships or grants to students. Once they finish, it's over. So it's like a free lunch. You get just given a scholarship or grant, then after you finish, there's nothing happening to you. You are not liable to pay it back or responsible for to pay back. There are also there's a commercial model whereby banks or financial institutions provide loans or credit to students with interest. And whoa. The other model is called Islamic finance model. It's very common. They are selling the academic seats, and the people are paying back without interest, but with profit, legally under Islamic jurisdictions. Let me go. What are the main challenges of these models? There is a huge problem of sustainability. For most of those who are providing free lunch, they are not sustainable. You may see an orphan get the loan first year in university, second year when he go back to request for the second year portion, say there's no grant for this year, we don't have anything. So there's a problem of sustainability. There's also a problem of age featured in some financing model. There's some scholarships bounded with the age also with the education level, also with the type of field, science, PhD, you must, so there's a lot of limitation with these loans. Also, there's for the banks and financial institutions, they have very, very sophisticated system of processing. There are a lot of documents you must sign in order to get the loan. Our recommendation is this. We must come up with very, very unique hybrid model of all three models, which is sustainable, but it's looking for the future, but it's helping the society, does not charging a lot of profits and something like that. But also must be Islamically acceptable. It go with our faith. The gap we saw, continuing with the gap, there's a problem of diversification in study. As I said, the program, there's a limitation of program. So if you want to fill the gap, these are the way. We must come up with the features that of loans that directly touch these graduate programs, because for the government, they don't offer the loans for postgraduate studies, but diploma, but also there's a problem, I said, there's a mindset problem. We need to have some mentorship program to these guys. Once they finish, they have ability or courage and take it as a responsibility to pay it back. Also, the gap, there's a problem of simplify but reliable process. As I said, this is the loans. As long as it is a loan, there's some procedure must be followed, regardless where you are, in for profit or not for profit. As long as it is a loan, there's some kind of process you should follow. So we must find a very, very simple, simplified process and reliable process to make these things very simple. Our recommendation, first, we need to incorporate loan programs that we really helping our people, students, regardless of our age. Also, we need to work in partnership with international organizations in order to address this problem or to gain what is called competitive advantage. Also, can you move it? Hey, bro. Also, we need to set sustainability model in our financing models. As I said, most of our local NGOs that offer loans or scholarship, they fail within 3 to 5 years of operations. Other things, our local organization and the university should have feelings of responsibility on shaping our society mindset. This what we call mindsetting and financial literacy. People are sometimes eager to take a loan without I say without consciousness. They just, whenever there is a loan, he will fight for that loan without consciousness. Thank you for your understanding and listening.
Thank you so much. Because we thought that it would be better for us to go for Salat Answer, but there is another suggestion with our team. It's better to go to questions. Then when we finish here, we go for Salat Answer prayer, only 10 minutes after this lecture. And after Salat Answer, Imam Ititi, Al-Hakishim, prepare, you are going to be our Imam for Salat Fast.
Talked about the even before the religion, has given certain instances like that the Arab were burying their daughters and other instances in Buganda, if I'm not mistaken. Now, my question was that what is your interpretation or what is your meaning when you are saying before religion? Because as far as the Quran is concerned, is that the religion was there during the first man, Adam, and even it was there to Musa, Ibrahim, and all the prophets. So I would like to know and to be given a clarification of what is that by before religion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Kitota said about the artificial gene. So I would like to ask you how this artificial gene can be propagated from generation to generation. Artificial gene for LGBTQ. That's the first question. Another, I didn't see your recommendations from this article. I can say no recommendations. What should be done? As we are talking about LGBTQ, this is the global agenda, the global propaganda. So what are the recommendations?
Thank you, brother. Your question has been understood. Because of the time.
Sustainability is one of the challenges in getting the loans to the students. So we want to know why is it a challenge that that money comes from taxpayers, from the citizens? Why is it a challenge? The other question is, what are they doing to the poor in the society to ensure that they continue the education with the help of our Lord? Thank you.
And I'm curious as to what you think, like how you think we should handle intra-religious conflicts. Is it something that can be solved within the religion itself, or do you think that there needs to be an outside perspective?
Our brothers and sisters from Kenya, they have can you, through your experience dealing with these issues and observing the issue of, contributing on social activities syndrome, all right? How can you change the mindset of Tanzanians to contribute also for education? Thank you.
Coming back to presenters, according to the question, we invite you to give us
Maswali yaliyoelekezwa kwangu ni mengi sana. Oho, subhanallah. Many questions have been addressed to me, and the time is not enough to answer all of them. I will give the general answers. Most of them is concerned with about the junta. For this question about junta, Sheikh Tawakal and some two individuals here, there is hadith narrated by Abu Tufail from Hudhaifa al-Khifari. And this hadith has been reported by Imam Muslim in his Sahih. In this hadith, the malaika, which I said that he asked Allah, "Oh Allah," for each stage of creation, the malaika asked Allah, "What can I do for this stage?" And Allah reply. Okay, and Allah reply, maybe do this and this, and that malaika is installed that kind of organ according to the command of Allah. So one of the questions which is that malaika is asking to Allah is that one, is this one. Ya Allah, ahadha sawiyu aw khayru sawiyu? Is this one having the organs which are perfectly or abnormal organs? So Allah command him to put whether abnormal or normal organs. So this junta is the part of this command of Allah, and other kind of abnormalities we observe to the newborns. So this is the first part of the question. The answer for these questions of junta and other abnormalities. Another is that question of about artificial genes. In my speech about the LGBTQIA plus and so forth, I did not talk about artificial gene. What I talked is that there are two blocks in these researches, medical research. The first block, the researchers who favor the gay gene and other LGBT behaviors, that they are predetermined or prenatal determined or inherited. And there are other blocks who they say no, there is no any kind of gay gene which have been discovered. So I have not talked about I'm not talking about any kind of artificial gene. The last one, about the one who asked about about the one who is born, the one who has transformed his sexual organs, transgender one in Tanzania here. He was asking about when did it happen. It was this year, 2013. So I think for my side, those questions I have answered according to the will of Allah. Thank you so much.
In my side, there are two questions. No, two people, but for three questions. The first one was the issue of sustainability. What's happened in most of our organization. Actually, for the government, the issue of sustainability has been taken care, because every year the government set aside a budget for student loan board. every year there's a budget. Of course, there's some problems. The late president used a lot of force to make sure who benefited from the loan board previously are paying back the loan. So for the government, they started to take care of that. For CSO, I mean these local organizations. They are the type of model they trying to be in place. I will give you one example. This IDB fund, they are using the government model. Unfortunately, they don't have mechanism. They don't have machineries to make sure people are returning back the fund. For the most of organizations, they have that kind of problem. But some organizations, they are relying on grants. They are requesting people from abroad, from other organizations, international organizations. They are collecting donations. Once they get, they will sponsor someone within their criteria. That person is not eligible to pay, is not responsible to pay it back. Once you get it, the grant, the scholarship is finished. So for the next year, they are supposed to collect another fund. So this issue of sustainability is coming. So how to handle this? In our model, we have 3 things. First, there's this is instant paying back loan. You will start pay back within your study period, slowly but surely. But also, coming again to the 3rd question, there's mentorship programs to put people in sense of responsibility and financial consciousness. This is a special program we're trying to bridge the gap for these people who are not feeling this fund is for all of us. Some people they think this is a zakat fund. When I get it, it's okay. So this mentorship program is a part of our program to make sure the fund is returning back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much. I have 2 questions, one from my brother. Yes, I agree with you 120% that religion is as old as man, because Allah has said this, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has elaborated it in so many of his traditions. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفًا فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا لَا تَبْدِيلَ لِخَلْقِ اللَّهِ ذَلِكَ دِينُ الْقَيِّمِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. So, from Adam, religion was there. But when I say that there has been conflict before religion, I am not talking about religion in that sense. I am talking about conventional religions, the way we understand religion today. Not from that sense, because religion simply means a way of life, the way people, live their lives, spiritually, and all that. So the final question from my sister was whether I think, what I think about the solution. I think, since I have 1 minute, I'll just simply give you an analogy, and I think it's even a quotation. When an egg is broken by an external force, life ends. But when an egg breaks from inside, life begins. So I think the best solution to intra-religious conflicts should be from within. We should not wait for anybody to come and solve our problems and conflicts. We should solve them ourselves in whichever way. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, dear participants, dear presenters. This marks the end of our today's session. 2 things to do right now. 1, we go for Salat al-Asr, and after that, we take a time for evening tea together there at the ground level. Tomorrow is going to be the last day for this conference. The schedule is going to start at 8 o'clock early in the morning with the breakfast. And the session chair is going to be Brother Majid Muswahili. So please, inshallah, attend on time. We'll start with the cluster 1, culture and civilization. So we urge you to be together with us, inshallah, tomorrow and in the morning for closing presentations and so forth. Thank you so much. We wish you the best. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Yeah, it's a time. It's a time now for prayer. For those who didn't take their, for those who have, they are in safar, mashallah, mafish haga. Lakin, we Tanzanians, we proceed, inshallah, especially living here in Morogoro.
Na mtazamaji wa MUM Online TV, siku ya pili katika mkutano wa kimataifa, mkutano ambao unakutanisha vyuo vikuu, na tumeweza kupata mawasilisho mbalimbali yakizungumzia mambo mbalimbali pia, na hivi sasa siku hii ya leo mawasilisho yamekamilika. Kama ilivyo ada, tathmini yako Mwalimu Hassan kutoka idara ya mawasiliano ya umma, tangu jana mpaka hivi leo siku imekamilika, ipoje?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Kwanza kwa kweli alhamdulillah, tunamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu, ni siku ya pili ya siku 3 za mkutano huu adhimu ambao unafanyika kila baada ya miaka miwili. Na tuseme tu kihistoria ni kwamba mkutano huu asili yake ulianzia hapa katika Chuo Kikuu cha Uislamu cha Morogoro mwaka 2014. Ndio ulikuwa mkutano wa mwanzo, lakini baada ya miaka miwili mkutano wa aina hiyo ulikuwa ukifanyika katika nchi zingine, lakini pia umefanyika Zanzibar. Mwaka huu katika awamu ya 5 ya mkutano wa namna hii unafanyika hapa Morogoro, ukiwa bado unawezeshwa na wenzetu wa taasisi ya International Institute of Islamic Thought, wakishirikiana na Chuo Kikuu cha Uislamu cha Morogoro, kuhakikisha Waislamu vyuo vikuu vya Afrika Mashariki na vingine vya Afrika. Tunaona hapa kuna washiriki wametoka Nigeria, kuna washiriki hapa wametoka Marekani, na yani sio Afrika, tunaona mpaka inakuwa na mvuto kutoka mabara mengine. Kwa hiyo ni kujadili mustakabali wa namna gani vyuo vikuu vinawajibika katika umma, changamoto za kisasa, namna gani yale maadili ambayo yanafundishwa na Uislamu yanaweza yakachukuliwa katika mafunzo mbalimbali, ya namna gani mafunzo yale ya msingi kabisa Uislamu yanaweza yakaingia katika tasnia zetu zote, kama ni hesabu, kama ni mawasiliano kwa umma, kama ni masuala ya sheria na sharia. Kila kitu kina nafasi yake katika Uislamu. Na asubuhi ya leo, kutoka asubuhi mpaka mchana, naona mawasilisho yote yalikuwa yanahusiana na namna gani kwenye kila tasnia wakachukua elimu ile inayohusiana na Uislamu na kuiweka kwenye tasnia ile ili kuonekana, kwa sababu Uislamu hauko tofauti na tasnia hizi zote. Sasa kuweka ndani yake kila ambacho Uislamu unataka ili ustaarabu wa jamii uweze kupatikana, na vyuo vikuu vya Kiislamu viweze kuwa mfano mzuri wa kuchukua majukumu yao ya kuhakikisha kwamba jamii zetu zinakuwa katika mstari ambao Mwenyezi Mungu anataka, lakini kwa maendeleo mapana ya nchi zetu na jamii zetu kwa ujumla. Naam.
Ukitazama agenda nzuri, lakini zimelenga hasa kuvinoa vyuo vikuu kama ambavyo vimekutana hapa kutoka mataifa mbalimbali.
Naam.
Unafikiri hii ni njia nzuri kufikisha hii approach kwa jamii?
Nafikiri ni njia nzuri kwa sababu jamii, ukisema kama nilivyosema, jamii za Afrika Mashariki, Afrika kwa jumla na duniani kote, huwezi kuwakusanya watu wote hao sehemu moja. Kwa hiyo vyuo vikuu hivi ambavyo vimewajibika, vimeitana hapa na kujadili, hawa wasomi wa vyuo vikuu, na kujaribu kubadilishana mawazo kuhusiana na ya mada hizi ambazo zimewasilishwa, wanakuwa wawakilishi tu wa hivyo vyuo, lakini ni wawakilishi wa jamii hizo ambazo ziko kule. Kwa hiyo kwa kuwa ni walimu, wengi ni walimu hapa, wakirudi katika vyuo vyao, ni makusudio kwamba wataenda kutengeneza programu zao, lakini kuweza kuzungumza na jamii ambayo inawazunguka pamoja na wanafunzi na wafanyakazi wengine, kuhakikisha yale ambayo yameelezwa hapa yanachukuliwa na kufikishwa kwenye jamii iliyokusudiwa. Si kwa ajili ya walengwa wa kwanza kwa maana ya vyuo peke yao, lakini vyuo viko pale kutengeneza mtazamo mzuri, lakini kiko kwa ajili ya maendeleo ya watu, ya umma, watu wa jamii tofauti tofauti. Kwa hivyo tunaamini kwa kutumia sehemu ndogo hii inaweza ikafikisha ujumbe kwa jamii pana ambayo inawakilishwa katika mkutano kama huu. Nashukuru sana.
Naam, shukrani sana. Ni Mwalimu Hassan Mohamed kutoka Chuo Kikuu cha Waislamu cha Morogoro, idara ya mawasiliano ya umma. Ndivyo ambavyo anatuhitimishia, na kesho mkutano huu utaendelea katika siku yake ya mwisho. Mimi naitwa Hamad Suleiman Hassan. Tukutane hapo kesho mubashara kupitia MOJA Online TV. Asante.